Hi, my name's Iain Moyer. I'm the front ensemble arranger for the Boston Crusaders. I've been a Zildjian artist for many years, and it's a pleasure to use their products at the Boston Crusaders. We had the Zildjian folks out today to shoot some footage, and we hope to give you a little bit of behind-the-scenes footage of what we do with the cymbals in our front ensemble, and hopefully a little bit of education on the philosophy behind it. Our approach to cymbal selection and cymbal orchestration at Boston is really one of diversity. What I try to think about is, no one cymbal makes your cymbal timbre and your palette. Really, I think about how many dark cymbals, maybe how many Ks versus how many brighter cymbals, how many As do we have in our front ensemble. And, it's really a question of the palette, whether it's darker or brighter, is really a question of the composite number of cymbals you have and how you orchestrate them and so on. So what we try to do is we also try to vary the sizes that we have on our keyboard. So our marimba players will have a suspended cymbal, a crash cymbal, and a china cymbal, and so will our vibraphone players. But we try to vary that. Typically, we'll use like a 20-inch suspended cymbal for the marimbas, a 19-inch cymbal for the vibraphones, maybe a 17-inch crash cymbal for the marimbas, and a 16-inch crash cymbal for the vibraphones. And then we have a couple of effect cymbals. We have a small 12-inch china cymbal on the marimbas and an 18-inch china cymbal on the vibraphones. So always different diameters and usually different colors as well. We might use an A crash on the marimbas. We might use like a K dark crash on the vibraphones and so on. So always trying to mix up your diameters between your marimbas and your vibraphones and also the types of models of cymbals you're using. So I think of our marimbas and vibraphones as sort of a composite drum set to kick the drum corps. And we're certainly dealing with a wonderfully loud brass section, so it needs multiple players and multiple impact instruments. So the diversity between those cymbals, and whether that's models or diameters, there's an opportunity to kind of really craft a unique and diverse cymbal sound that's kicking the drum corps, much like a drum set player would do in a big band. One thing I think is really important is being true to the music. And, we obviously have several china cymbals across our front ensemble, but there's times where china cymbals are not appropriate. If you're playing something very, very classical, the sound of a china cymbal is really just inappropriate. So we might divert more to a darker sound, to a suspended cymbal, or to a crash cymbal and so on, maybe something in the K variety and so on. So I think you have to be idiomatically correct as well with your cymbal writing. You don't want to have, in the middle of a Mozart piece, you don't necessarily want to have a lot of china cymbals in there because it doesn't sound nearly symphonic. It sounds much more exotic from that standpoint. We also find ourselves having opportunities to really color, particularly battery phrases, maybe brass phrases or front ensemble phrases, by ourselves with some exotic cymbals. Sometimes that's going to our china cymbals. Sometimes that's going to the EFX cymbals, some with a little bit, a much shorter decay. And so those are cymbals that can really take us away from a symphonic approach and move us into a much more contemporary drum set, popular music style approach. One of the interesting instruments that we're using this year is the trap stack cymbal that's from the Zildjian concept shop. And we had an opportunity to do several selections in our piece where we really needed sort of a hip hop style backbeat to what we were trying to accomplish as a percussion section. So you'll hear throughout our show in a couple different moments in our percussion feature and also in our feature where we have a featured rapper. We're using the trap stack cymbal from the concept shop, and it sounds like people clapping, and it's a really unique sound, something we've never used before because honestly it had never existed, and we're just excited to use it this year.
Man on a mission, can't catch me when I'm whipping in a blacked out coupe. V8 juice smash the engine, been diesel when I'm drifting. See jobs with the vision, so far ahead I leave them in the past like prohibition. Got a need for the speed when I reach for them G's. 40 years later they'll be reaching for me. Got a need for the speed when I reach for them G's. 40 years later I'm going to distance.
One thing I would say for folks who are on a budget and they're looking to expand their cymbal selection, my recommendation is, find out first of all what you have. Literally get all the cymbals you have, get them out, put them on the band room floor, inventory them, figure out, okay, we've got a decent amount of suspended cymbals, we have a few crash cymbals, maybe you have a pair of hand cymbals, and then ask yourself, what could we augment that with? And I think that you could add a China cymbal, you could add an EFX cymbal, you could add something that maybe is not quite in your palette currently, and while maintaining all the cymbals that are currently in your inventory, adding a few things with some special selection will have an opportunity for you to really expand your palette. And it doesn't take that many cymbals to really change the sound of your front ensemble, particularly when you're dealing with China cymbals or an EFX cymbal and so on. Like, those things are very unique, they're going to speak for you. So I would definitely recommend trying to expand your palette beyond just normal suspended cymbals and maybe a crash cymbal that you might have on a drum set. And certainly there's, beyond just the Zildjian catalog, there's other things that you're able to add to your arsenal as far as creating colors in your front ensemble metallically. You certainly have metal canisters, brake drums, anvils. There's lots of things that you can add to add color to your front ensemble. Rhythm strips, etc., so on, that you have an opportunity to create different timbres and a different palette of sound that will expand what you already have. I think sometimes it's easy to kind of get stuck in a rut with regards to, the orchestration or the instrumentation of your front ensemble. It's easy to roll the same instruments out there year after year. And I think the thing that's enjoyable with the Zildjian catalog and all the instruments you can add to your front ensemble is really like, how big of a palette can you create, and how many layers can you peel off that onion from a timbral standpoint? And there's so many choices, there's so many different diameter choices, there's so many different model choices across the Zildjian spectrum that you have an opportunity to add many different things, from a zimbal to an oriental gong to a pair of classical orchestral hand cymbals. So there's so many things that can vary your palette. Just I think it's philosophically, you just keep your mind and your ears open and be excited about the adventure of trying to pick and expand the palette of your ensemble.